This series is about beauty, stories, and safe enjoyment of nature. It is educational only and not medical advice. Do not forage or ingest anything. Essential oils, if used at all, should be diluted to 2 or 3% and patch tested. Keep pets and children safe and away from strong fragrances or potentially toxic plants. Welcome to Episode 1 of Season 1, a 5-part playlist called Top 10 Rare and Toxic Flowers, Sleep Scents and Safe DIY, S1. Tonight we explore 10 of the rarest blooms on Earth, and one of them hides a dangerous secret. Ready? 10 to 1. Imagine a dim gallery of light where each flower sits under a soft spotlight. The camera glides over dew on petal edges while a quiet counter flickers. Our rule is simple. We honor the lore. We check it against what we actually know. And we end with a respectful safety note so you can enjoy nature without risking your health, your pets, or fragile ecosystems. At number 10, the Franklin tree, Franklinia alatamaha, an American ghost that no longer exists in the wild. Picture a slender tree in late summer, lifting white flowers with golden centers like tiny suns in porcelain cups. Lore paints it as a survivor's emblem, a story in which beauty is saved by human hands. The truth is inspiring and sobering. Every living Franklin tree today descends from historic garden stock after the species disappeared from its native riverbanks. There is no internal use here and no remedy to repeat. Its value is proof that botanical rescue can work if we choose it. The safest way to honor this flower is to support conservation, plant it from reputable nurseries where legal, and never remove plant material from protected sites. When you stand beneath a Franklin tree in bloom, the flowers look like delicate teacups of light, and each modern tree is a direct heir to gardeners who refuse to let it vanish. At number 9, the Himalayan Blue Poppy, Meconopsis betonicofolia, nature's dream made real. You round a misty bend in a cool, damp valley and see a hue that feels impossible in petals, a true ethereal blue. Alpine lore calls it a wish you can hold in your hand, a color that calms the mind by surprise alone. The science side is simple. It is a poppy in name and resemblance, but not a narcotic crop and certainly not a plant to experiment with internally. Growers prize it for that rare color under the right conditions: cool air, rich soil, patience. The safety message is clarity. Do not confuse ornamental poppies with medicinal or toxic lookalikes, and treat all unknown parts as hands-off. Under a cloudy sky, the blue poppy can glow so vividly it seems self-lit, as if it is catching a hidden wavelength of daylight. At number 8, the golden camellia, Camellia chrysantha, like a coin of sunshine pressed into petals. In forested corners of southern China and parts of Vietnam, this camellia hides clusters of deep yellow blooms that feel rare even before you learn how unusual true yellow is in the camellia family. Tradition whispers about gentle energy and soothing tea moments. The careful, honest take. Any antioxidant story here belongs in the broad, sensible category. Colorful plants often contain interesting compounds, but we do not make medical promises. If you ever encounter golden camellia tea, source matters more than the romance of rarity. Buy only from reputable sellers who follow local regulations, or better yet, enjoy the plant as a garden treasure and sip a standard camellia tea you already know is safe. That saturated yellow is all natural, a genetic signature that looks painted but isn't. At number 7, the chocolate cosmos, Cosmos atrosanguineus. Pretend you open a box of dark truffles and a flower breathes back. The first inhale surprises you, a warm, bittersweet hint of cocoa from velvety maroon petals that read almost black under evening light. Lore says its scent lifts mood like a secret dessert you cannot eat. The grounded view? Enjoy it with your nose and your eyes, not your mouth. This cosmos is typically propagated vegetatively, making it rarer in cultivation than in seed catalogs, and safest when treated as ornamental only. For pets, most gardeners find it uneventful, but the rule stands: no chewing, and watch for irritation in sensitive animals. Camera sensors often render its tone as near black, which makes a tiny garden patch look cinematic with almost no editing. At number 6, Ylang-ylang, Cananga odorata, the long, curling petals that taught perfumery the meaning of hypnotic. Think of warm, humid night air carrying a sweet, lush, tropical note that fades slowly, like moonlight sliding off skin. Folklore cast it as a comfort scent, steadying breath and smoothing nerves. Reality check. Ylang-ylang essential oil is potent. If you use it at all, dilute to 2 to 3% in a carrier oil. Keep it away from pets and children, and patch test carefully because some skin types react. Ventilate your space, avoid continuous diffusing, and treat perfume as pleasure, not therapy. The petals twist like ribbons as they mature, a visual spiral that suggests motion even when the air is still. Have you guessed the dangerous one yet? Keep watching. At number 5, Queen of the Night, Selenocereus grandiflorus, a flower that opens when the world is asleep and closes before most alarms ring. Imagine watching a tight bud swell after sunset and unfurl into a white bloom the size of your hand, radiating a nocturnal perfume that seems to hush a courtyard all by itself. Legends say if you make a wish as it opens, the night will remember it. The measured take: admire with your eyes, not your teacup. Spines may be small or hidden, but they can irritate, and any internal use claims belong to history books, not your routine. Photograph it, document the hour it opens, share the moment, and let it finish its brief performance untouched. In time-lapse, the petals look like a slow ocean wave, cresting and folding back into darkness before dawn. At number 4, Snow Lotus, Sassarea involucrata, the high mountain fighter wrapped in its own winter coat. Picture a plant on a cliff ledge, wind cutting like knives, the snow lotus bristling with white, woolly hairs that act like a thermal jacket and sun shield. Stories from Tibetan and Chinese traditions grant it stamina and resilience. The precise, respectful line, "Any medicinal use belongs strictly to licensed professionals who know sourcing, species, and dosage, because wild populations have suffered from overharvesting and counterfeits exist." For the rest of us, the most helpful act is wonder without taking. Support ethical cultivation and leave alpine ecosystems to heal. That soft fur on bracts and leaves is a real adaptation, bending harsh light and slowing water loss so the plant can keep its cool above the clouds. At number 3, the ghost orchid, Dendrophylax lindonii, the trickster that pretends to float in midair. You catch it out of the corner of your eye in a swamp or hammock forest. Pale petals, like a small dancer, no leaf in sight, only a tangle of green roots clinging to bark. Folklore insists it's a spirit, a visitation, an omen of rare luck. Conservation law says something else very firmly, hands off. The plant is protected, populations are fragile, and poaching is a crime that damages whole ecosystems. The science is delightful in its own right. The roots themselves photosynthesize, turning sunlight into life directly. In the right angle and light, the flower seems to hover because your eye can't find the stem or leaves to anchor it to anything solid. At number 2, Blue Lotus, Nymphaea carolea, a royal calm rising from still water. Ancient art loved it, poets loved it, and to this day, people are drawn to the cool, dreamy tone of blue petals circling a buttery yellow center. Lore credits it with a gentle mood lift, ceremonial composure, and a sense of floating focus. The careful truth, human evidence for wellness effects is limited, labels and species vary, and internal use, if considered at all, should only happen under qualified guidance because not all preparations are equal. If you want the sleep-friendly part of this series, keep things simple. A quiet photo, a slow breath, a cup of your usual caffeine-free herbal tea that you know suits you, and either plain water in a diffuser or a very mild pet-aware hydrosol in a ventilated room. When the sun moves, the blue lotus tracks light in subtle shifts, creating the illusion that the flower is breathing with the pond. Only one left. Jeffy played guess wrong. At number 1, saffron crocus, Crocus sativus. The bloom that turns fields into rivers of purple and stitches gold into cuisine one fragile thread at a time. 3 crimson stigmas per flower, harvested by hand at dawn, laid to dry with the care of a jeweler. The lore is generous. Saffron warms a kitchen, brightens a plate, and has been linked in traditional texts to mood and vitality. The honest, practical side splits in two. First, the romance of saffron depends on exact identification and trustworthy sourcing. Second, the risk is not authentic saffron used properly. It is the look-alike most people don't expect. Autumn crocus, also called meadow saffron, Colchicum autumnal, which contains colchicine and is toxic. Mix them up and the consequences can be serious. That is why wild picking is a terrible idea and why bargain saffron without provenance is not a gift. It's a risk. If saffron belongs in your kitchen, buy it from reputable sellers and use the amount standard recipes call for. If you are pregnant, have bleeding disorders, or take anticoagulant medication, talk with a qualified clinician before using saffron supplements or high culinary amounts and err on the side of less rather than more. On average, it can take around 75,000 blossoms to produce a single kilogram of dried saffron threads. One reason authentic saffron costs what it costs, and shortcuts attract counterfeits. Let's underline the pattern. Lore keeps what is human and beautiful, stories, rituals, hopes. Science keeps what is humble and safe, cautious language, small studies, common sense risk control. Where they meet, you get something better than either alone, respectful enjoyment. Tonight we met flowers famous for aura and mood without reaching for risky practices. If you enjoy fragrance, let the ritual be the part that soothes you. Dim the lights earlier, crack a window for fresh air, put your phone away, brew something gentle you already tolerate well. And if you diffuse, keep it brief, dilute extremely, and skip it entirely if pets share your space. Before we close, one more walk through the gallery to lock in what you saw. The Franklin tree showed how conservation can defeat extinction in a narrow way, reminding us that the rarest things may live only because someone cared obsessively. The Himalayan Blue Poppy delivered proof that a single wavelength can lift your mood without a promise on a label. The golden Camellia glowed with sensible restraint. Enjoy the color and leave the health claims to research that may or may not arrive. The chocolate cosmos taught attentive pleasure. Sniff, smile, walk away. Ylang-ylang asked for respect in dosing because potency is not a virtue by itself. The queen of the night offered presence, a moment that refuses to be stored. And the snow lotus taught limits because some plants must stay on the mountain to mean what they mean. The ghost orchid whispered about law and ethics, how to love something by not touching it. The blue lotus floated, holding a quiet line between legend and real life. And saffron revealed how danger often hides in confusion, not in the beloved ingredient itself. If you enjoyed this countdown, tell me your personal number one in the comments and share one line of lore from your culture or family. That exchange of stories is how plants stay alive in us without leaving their habitats. Tap like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss episode 2 of Top 10 Rare and Toxic Flowers, Sleep Scents and Safe DIY, S1. Next time we pair the romance of night bloomers with calm, realistic routines. How to prepare a room so light, sound, and scent work with your nervous system. How to keep cats and dogs safe while you enjoy gentle aroma. And how to avoid 3 diffuser mistakes that ruin sleep instead of helping it. Beauty first, safety always, science where we have it, humility where we don't. Let the counter fade to black, 10, 9, 8, 7, and let your last image be a single petal catching light before the room goes quiet.